to actually building my own team. In my last company, I was handling 5-6 people, and it has been a great journey. And if you are also interested in design, I think we will be able to help you a lot in that. So this session is going to be about, apart from the Q&A part, we will tell you what is UI UX, but what is also its exact role when you go into a corporate setup. Usually what you learn in like different places, that's the theory of it, but uska exact practical kya hai? What do I do at Kotak Securities in my everyday life? So you will learn that too. So first, what is UI UX? Like, can anybody tell if they know about basics of UI UX? If not, that's also fine. We can just proceed. We'll take a minute for that. Okay, anybody is interested?
Hello, ma'am. Can you listen?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, what knowledge I know, I will just share. I am also interested to this. Yeah, hello. Myself Fatima. Actually, I
Okay.
have enrolled with my husband's name. So,
Okay.
yeah, coming to UI.
Hmm.
UI means if you can see, take a phone and take one app.
Hmm.
What is the screen which you can see is the
Hmm.
UI, like the design part. What are the colors you can see and all that? Where are the buttons present and all? What you can touch is that UI. And
Yes.
coming to UX, UX is what how that is placed, like where it should be present. The button where it should be user friendly, because ultimately user will have will get the access to type anything and all.
Hmm.
So for that, in the UX part, you'll just research on the website, or
Hmm.
whether it comes from the developers side. If they give, it's of their view. Like where we should place the text, where we have to keep the button, how it should look, how attractive we should make, so that the customers get attracted and the users can easily access that. Is UX.
Okay.
And basing on the UX, then we will taking all the research work which I've done in the UX. Then we come to UI, like how it should be designed, what the color combinations we should give in that, how attractive we should make that website so that it looks very good, so that people can come to that and can can understand, they can
Okay.
continue with that website. As of my knowledge, I know that's all.
Sure. So what you have said is correct, but we're gonna take a step back. What is UI UX design? It's like a part. There are three things here. One is UI, another is UX, another is design. So UI UX is like a part of design area. What is design? मैं बहुत ही सरल शब्दों में बोलूं, design is problem solving. You have any problem and you figure out a way around it. For example, if you have to open, let's say, a bottle, the can of it, and if you're trying to open it in some way, agar aapke paas uska tool nahi hai, then let's say you're doing some jugaad and you're using the chammach, that is also, you had a problem, you're solving something. That is design overall. Now UI UX is a term which is specifically used for digital solutions. Digital solutions, as Fatima said, I hope I spelled the name correctly. Um,
Yeah, that's true. Correct.
yes.
Thank
Okay. So
you.
UI UX is about digital solutions, that is apps and websites, as she mentioned. And UI part of it, as she correctly said, that it is the interface part of it, like how it looks visually. UX is when you interact with it, जब आप वो app को use कर रहे हैं, how you feel about it. For example, so I'll tell you one of my recent experiences. So one website, I had some subscription with it, and I think they overcharged me for some reason, and they kept doing it. Now the feeling attached to it, that I'm very frustrated. Why are you overcharging me when I've already paid the outstanding amount? Now those emotions, that is the UX. So UX, when you say emotions cannot be created, but you can what do you call, invoke them. So we design digital solutions in a way so that people feel good about it when they interact with your app or website. They feel good about it. That is simply UI UX. And now when I say what kind of problems you can solve, मैं बोलूँ, like for example, can we solve poverty with it, or can we solve like hunger problem with it, or maybe problems like COVID. You could if you want to, but those are very bigger problems to solve. As I mentioned, UI UX is about digital solutions. So for example, Facebook, it helps people connect to each other. That's an app. There's a website also. There's naukri.com that helps people get job, and that helps companies hire people. That's again a digital solution. The problem is that people want to get hired and company wants to hire people. Naukri.com is a digital solution, which is an app also there, a website which helps these parties connect. And same goes for Spotify. It helps people listen to music on the go. So I hope this is clear. Very simple. UI UX design is problem solving in the digital space via apps, websites, and not just apps or website. If you have like Apple Watch, the apps and things that you see on the screen of that Apple Watch, that is also part of it. Anything digital as a solution comes under UI UX. I hope that is clear. If there's any question, you can ask me. Okay. If anybody has any question, please raise your hands in the chat so that we'll know when to stop and answer your questions. Okay, we'll move on now. When I say that we design apps, we design websites, but when you actually go into a company, you will not always get to design the entire app or website. For example, Facebook may, like, there are employees, right? Do you think that there are like thousands of designers there? Do you think that they redesign the entire Facebook every day? No, that doesn't happen. Rather, they work on small parts of that app. They work on, like, for example, if you look at Spotify, on this home page, we can see that this is one widget. There's one part of the screen which tells me what are the songs that I've listened to recently. That is one feature. Then there is few other songs that I've listened to like very long ago. There's another feature. Then there's a small feature which tells me which was the most recent song I was listening to. That is another feature. Then there is a navigation bar. Navigation bar means a place which helps you navigate to go to different spaces of the app. That's a navigation bar. Now there are 100 things here. There's home, there's search, there's library, where you will find your liked songs, where you'll find your saved songs, maybe your history. Then there is premium, where you will find features to buy subscriptions of the Spotify. So when you go to a company, you'll probably be working on these smaller problems that I might be asked to, hey Nisha, we want to enhance this experience of users where let's say whatever they have listened to recently, we want to make it the most relevant for them. So I might just be working on this. So this is what we do. Even at Kotak Securities, no, I'm not redesigning or designing the entire app or website of Kotak Securities every day. No, there are different small problems in the app and website that I'm working on every day. And our goal collectively is to make sure that the app and the website works great for our users. So I hope that is, yeah, sure. I'll continue with English. So I hope that is clear with everybody. If there's any doubt, you can ask. The idea of this session is that we really want to put out a realistic expectation for you that after you learn all these skills, what is the use case for it? Okay, so you know what? Let's get into exactly. Let's consider that we are actually employees of Spotify. We all are designers at Spotify, and let's see that we have been given a problem statement that enhance the search experience for users. Now, how many of you exactly have used Spotify before? Because I use it on an everyday basis, so that's why I picked this. That's why I picked this particular app. Yes, somebody raised their hand. Do you want to say something? Okay, we'll move on. So now when we are usually given, so that's the first part of design. As I said, that design is problem solving. That means I need a problem for it, to figure out a solution for it. So that's a problem that I've been given, that I have to make sure that the search experience for users is good. Now, if you have seen Spotify, that in order to search, like there are 100 things there as well. There's like the recent songs that you have listened to, then you can search, then it tells you the results, and that is very typical of the search that you'll find anywhere else. If you go to Swiggy, if you go to Zomato, that is same sort of everywhere. Now, what is the context behind it? Now we're trying to understand, we'll try to understand that why this problem, like what is causing this problem that I need to solve for. So the context, this is what we call context. So context here is that currently the Spotify app, it allows people to only search songs based on the name of the song. There's official name of every song, right? And if people usually do not remember the name, especially I don't usually remember the official name of the song. I rather sometimes remember the lyrics, I sometimes remember the artist name or maybe movie, but I don't usually remember the name of the song. And if I don't have the name of the song, it sort of becomes really frustrating to look for that song. So that is the problem here, that for people who do not remember or don't know the official name of the song, they are not able to find the song on the Spotify app. Now this is the problem space and we have to solve for it. So as a designer, the first job is that you get the problem statement right and you get some context out of it, that why this problem, why are we solving for this. Okay, next we go into who are our like our users, who are we trying to solve this problem for. And we try to gather some information about them, as in who are they, what do they do. And we try to gather information around the same ecosystem. So if I'm trying to solve something for music app, I'll probably figure out their habits around music, like what kind of music they like, how do they discover music, if they have to look for a music on any other app, let's say if they're not using Spotify, if they're using some like other music app, how do they find that music there. So what are their current habits regarding the same problem that we are trying to solve, right? And I'll give you an example that why is this necessary, why do I need to understand like who my users are. I have 100 ideas, I've looked at different apps, I know that this is what they do for the search, I could just make it. Well, you could, but the idea is that we try to make it we try to make it personalized for those users. We try to make sure that the solution that we come up with is exactly relevant to the kind of people who are actually my customers who use Spotify. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have people coming over dinner, and you have been given the task to cook for them. Now you could go and just make dishes based on your liking. For example, if I like gulab jamun, I could just say, okay, I'm going to order gulab jamun. But what if whoever is coming over for dinner, none of them eat sweets, so it's just going to ruin dinner. So what we would typically would try to know that how many people are there any kids, like is anyone allergic to anything. So we do try to know, right, who am I going to cook for. This is very similar to that. So here we have a problem we're trying to solve, and now the question comes, who am I going to solve this for. So now so how do you get to know this? If you are doing, so let's say if you are doing your own personal case study, you could actually go talk to your friends, family, maybe your colleagues. If you're in college, maybe other people that there in your class. But let's say if I have to collect this data, I work with Kotak Securities. How can I collect this data? So either I could go out and do research. By that I mean I could go and do some interviews. I could actually meet my actual users. Let's say if I don't have time for it, let's say somebody or my manager asked me to do this task in 2-3 days only. So I don't have that much time, the bandwidth. This is what we call the bandwidth. We don't have that much time. So I could even go and ask my manager who has worked on the Spotify app before. He would have also some information about users. So I could go ask him. So there are different ways of figuring out or gathering the data. Now, after I get to know all these things, we typically make a user persona. Now, user persona is something like a superficial character that we make which resembles our actual user. It doesn't have to be an actual user, but collective information, you can take all of that and create a superficial somebody who resembles your actual user. So let's say I have created one persona like this. So the name of the girl is Reenu. She's 28 years old. She lives in Mumbai. She's single. She studied BTech in electronics and communication. She currently works as an associate in ICICI Bank. Important part is that she usually listens to music when she's traveling for her work, and that like one way takes her 1 hour. So 2 hour a day she usually listens to music at that time. And she loves like 2000s of song, early 2000 songs. And she also discovers music via reels. Now if you have, like, if I'm pretty sure you all use reels, and when you get the music, there's a little chip at the bottom of the screen where it tells you what that music is, but the name of the music doesn't is not always the official name of the music. If I edited the video on my laptop, and if I put it on reels, it usually marks it as original song. It usually doesn't do the official name of the song. So that means if somebody is discovering music via different platforms, it could be TikTok as well, it could be, I don't know, other platforms if they are there. So there are different ways of discovering music. That means there's a high chance I do not remember or know the official name. And as we have discussed before, the problem is that since people don't remember the name, how are they going to find the song on Spotify? So now her goals and ambitions is simple, that I just want to listen to good music. My frustrations currently are that it's very hard to find the music on Spotify. And what does she do for that? She usually goes to YouTube or Google. If she remembers some lyrics, she tries to find those lyrics, then figure out what song it was, get the official name out from those sources, Google or YouTube. Then she goes and finds the music on Spotify. So it's like a long process. Even though the Spotify doesn't have the feature, but people still figure out ways to do things. And that is our job, is to make sure that we simplify that process, so that person or our user doesn't have to go out of my app to do these things, these little things. And currently the tools around music she's using is Spotify, YouTube, Google, and Instagram. This is where she discovers most of her music. Okay, any doubts here? Let me also tell you that why is it necessary for me to capture the age, or maybe the location, these the age, location, marital status. This is what we call demographic information. And this is where we are just trying to figure out, like, how is she like. For example, there are few information that you can figure out of this information. If somebody has done BTech, you can assume that that person would have a good knowledge in terms of using different apps. Also, if she uses reels, that means she knows how to get through different apps. So she has some technological knowledge in terms of things. So that is why we usually cover this sort of data, to just figure out other information. Any questions till now you can ask. And this is a usual process, like even if you're doing your own personal. That is, yes, there are other apps also. I use YouTube Pro Mode. Of course, there are more apps. Here I've just covered one way to do it, but you could also go interview other people, and you will figure out that there are so many ways that people do things. Okay. So now that once these are the steps, I figured out the problem, I have the problem statement, I know who am I solving for. Now, when we say that I have to enhance something, that means something is currently there which is not up to the mark. So before we try and redesign something, let's figure out what is there currently. So this is Spotify's homepage. User clicks on search. So what is the current search journey? When I click on it, this is the search page. Now there's a big search bar on top, start browsing, music, podcast, and all. If I click here, this is where I land. Now this is telling me what are the recent music that I've listened to. Now here, let's say I do not remember the name of the song. I literally remember just 2-3 words of some part of the lyric of the song. So that's what I try to enter here. So I don't know if so many people of you like know it or not, but the lyric here is Chhad Chhad Jaunga. It's a Punjabi song, and these are just the lyrics, let's say, that I remember. Now, if I'm trying to enter here, it's just giving me some of the search results, but The song that I know, of course, because I was just trying to figure out if Spotify would give me the correct result or not. It didn't. The official name of the song is Savare, and it's not there in search results at all. And I have no other way to do anything else. I could just, the only way to do is it, I could keep scrolling, but I know that Spotify would not give me the result. Why? Because I know that they usually give results based on the official name of the song. So I hope this you got. Any questions so far? So this is a similar process like how we do it at like different corporate setups. So if somebody has given me a problem statement, so the first thing we do is figure out why that problem is there at all. We figure out what are our users feeling, what is the problem exactly, why they are doing, if they are doing something, who are they, and then if we are redesigning something or enhancing something, the first thing is obviously to figure out what is there currently, what is wrong currently. And we have figured here that what is wrong currently. Even though I tried putting lyrics here, I couldn't find the song. So once I'm done with this, now you could go and, let's say if you have come up with few ideas, there are few ideas in your head, you could go and just start making few solutions. But before we do that, remember one thing: there's a high chance that the problem that you're like finding the solution for has been solved by somebody else. There's a high chance. And for that reason, we do competitor analysis. Competitor analysis is, for example, for Kotak Securities, competitors are people or apps or websites who are providing the same service as Kotak Securities. So ICI Securities is a competitor for us. Grow is a competitor for us. Zerodha is a competitor for us. Everybody who is into trading and exchange, they are competitors for us. Similarly, for Spotify, everybody who is offering music related services, that could be a competitor for Spotify. So YouTube could be a competitor. Let's say if you know of any other music apps, there used to be Ghana, there used to be Geo Savan. All of these are competitors. So what do you do usually? That we try to figure out, okay, if I had to do the same thing, if I had to find a song using the lyrics of that song and not the official name, what would I do on that app, or what does that app give me if I try to do so? So let's say I went to YouTube and I tried doing it. So this is the search. I click on it. I get the search bar. I try to type here something. This is again the lyric, the same lyric. And guess what? YouTube gave me the first result is the official song that I was looking for. It gave me. So this is what they're doing. Now here they are not exactly doing something in UI UX because there's no added step for a user. It's same as I put in something in the search bar and you get the results. So that means the logic, as in the development or developers have a good logic here to find the right result for the song, irrespective of how you're trying to find that song. But let's assume that Spotify doesn't have it. I will give you results, but let's say my user, you have to give me another output. You have to tell me that how you are trying to, what are you trying to search for? Are you trying to search it via his lyrics, or let's say you're trying to find it via the official name or the artist name or something like that? That's our assumption. I'm taking an assumption. The next thing, so once I have looked at different competitors, here I've just put in one, but you could do it, you could go all out. Like how you could go like up to 5, 10, whatever. You could compare them, figure out how they are doing, what could work for us. The idea is not just look at them randomly. Idea is that look how they are doing it and what idea will resonate with us, what idea will help us, because everybody they are solving it for a different problem. They are not, YouTube is not just giving you uh, the song, they're also giving you the MP4, the video also, but Spotify doesn't do that, right? So it's still into a different problem statement. The next step is ideation. Ideation is a phase. Now let's say I have like 4 or 5 ideas after I've looked at different apps and websites. Now I have like 4 or 5 ideas. At this stage, I usually would try to note the ideas down by doing some pen pencil stuff. You don't necessarily have to create the entire UI at this point. You could create your ideas using pen. You could also do it on different, let's say I did it on Figma. There are other tools like Balsamic and more tools like that where you could do that. Now here, if you see, this nowhere looks like the exact UI of Spotify. Like, this is so colorful, there's so much here, uh, there's there's like real data here, there are icons properly, but here I see there's nothing, it's just black and white or gray, because this is what we call wireframe. The idea here is to not exactly come up with the final solution. The idea here is that we just lay down all our ideas and try to figure out what idea will work best for us. Every idea will have its pro and con, and what idea that we'll segregate all those ideas based on what will work, what will not work for us, right? So here, let's say I've just put in some ideas here. So I've just put in like 1 2. You can tell me if you have any other ideas for the same problem space. So idea here is that when somebody enters the name, I could do it two ways. If I show directly the list, it will become so hard for somebody to find the song, because I don't know. Are you trying to show me the song? Are you trying to show me something based on the, like, do you know if it was lyrics or not? So what did I do? I segregated it into two parts. One is song, that by default I'm going to show you the search result for the song, which could be this. And let's say if this is not a song, if what you're trying to look for is a lyric, then there is another list. Now if you notice clearly here, this is the, let's say for example, this is my phone. This is what we call a viewport. That means what much of a space you have for your phone where user would be able to see something. Now if so, this is the viewport, and I've made sure that two things that I have here, which are two lists, they both are visible on the viewport at the same time, right? And the reason it is, if that goes, let's say if this goes here, let's say it's very at the bottom, and let's say if this list is very very long, my user at the first, when he or she has the first interaction with this app, they will not be able to figure out that I have added another feature for them so that they could find the music via lyric. You would not know, right? And that is why I reduce the number of results in the first part, so that my user will know, okay, there's something new. And this is the first idea. The second idea was, I could also do this is what we call chips. I could also do chips, like for example, whatever results, all of them here are song, and you could also search them via lyrics. So this is another one, right? And now what is, we'll also talk about what and how to choose a solution when I have like multiple solutions or multiple ideas. Then there is another idea that I played with, that this is the default search screen. The first time I click on search, this is where I land, right? I could also add another search option where I could add the reel link, and my system, my app could extract the music out of that reel and find that music for you. So that's another feature that I played with. So another idea. And when this will be very similar to how our normal search goes. You click on it, it opens up, you paste a link here, and my app knows that whatever you have put here is a link, that is a real link. So it will extract the music out of it, and these are all the results based on the music that I got from the link. These are all the results. So let's say now I have like 3 ideas what to go for. You cannot go and implement all the ideas for sure, because then your developer won't like you. So what do we usually do at this point? So this is the time where you usually make all these iterations, and you go to your executives or you go to your other stakeholders. Stakeholders are people who are involved in the same project with you. It could be a developer, it could be a product manager, it could be even founder, if you work with founder as well. So Based on their feedbacks as well, we figure out a way, okay, which idea is good. So we don't usually go at the stage of, let's say, competitor analysis. This is usually design team internally does. So whenever we do this for ourselves, but we don't usually end up going to our stakeholders to showcase all this, even the users and personas. But ideation is a phase where we always go to our stakeholders, because this is where we are trying to finally shape the solution. So now let's say I have 3 ideas. Now, how do I make sure which will work? There are 2 ways. One, another stakeholder is always your user. User is always another stakeholder. You could make a prototype for it. I hope everybody understands prototype. If not, I can tell you. Anybody doesn't know about prototype, I can tell you. Logic is very simple. Prototype is just a functional. So these screens that I've created, I can make them functional by linking those screens together, so that I'll just actually show it to you. How does this work? It's a very simple we'll do. So let's say if I click on this, what what will happen? So this is, if you see, you can add. So this is a link. Now I can add this to this screen. Now this says that a user, when he clicks here, the person will land here. So this is a prototype, a functional output of your designs, only designs. Functional output of your designs is prototype. Now if I go and try to run it, so now if I click on it, see, so this thing has not been coded, no developer has touched it yet, but this still works. And why do we usually prototype? We prototype to collect feedback, because what happens usually, if I go and just show these screens, that's a, like, prototype is very simple. I'm not sure if how many people have used Figma. It's very simple. There's a panel. So you see here, this is a design panel. Here it is a prototype panel. So here all these rectangles and everything, these things that you create, all that goes into the design panel, and your prototype things go here. So what did I just do? I went to the prototype mode. I clicked on the element. Then you'll see a plus sign. You can drag it and you'll see a link. Now you can go and link it with anything. Simple. Okay. So I was talking about, why do we usually do prototypes? Two things. When, if you are trying to get feedback from your actual users, yes, we usually do that. Whenever we need an early feedback, let's say I am not able to figure out what solution is the best. The best answer of this problem is go to your actual users. Actually, go talk to 5-6 people, hand them these prototypes on your phone, and observe how they use this feature that you're trying to introduce. And that is the best feedback that you can get. And that is why we usually create prototypes, because user doesn't understand that something will come after this screen. It will become so tedious for me to make them understand. So that is why we usually use prototype. And another stakeholder is product managers and developers and executives and all. They also, like, we should treat them as like our end users only. They also don't usually understand the concept of like a segregated screens. So that's why we also do prototype to make them understand how this journey will go. Prototype is a part of UX. See, UX is that you're trying to make things good for users, so that whenever they interact with your app, their problem is solved in a way that it does not cause any frustration or difficulty for them. Now, prototype is just a way to collect that data. I could take this prototype and hand this over to my actual user, and I could ask them, could you please try to find a song for me on this prototype? And then whenever, like when he does all those things, and if you see him getting stuck anywhere, you could ask. So this is UX, is you're getting the data out of him. Prototype is just a way of doing it. Similarly, not just from the final users, the same information you could gather from any stakeholders. I could also hand this over to my developers and to get feedback from them. See, this is the journey that I'm trying to plan. Do you think if this is feasible or not? Feasible means that in a certain timeline or deadline, will you be able to create it for my users or not? That's usually feasible. So are there any feedbacks? Is this implementable or not? So prototype is just a way to gather information about users from about users, from stakeholders, anybody. Okay. So let's say that my developer said, and there are two feedbacks. I talked to my developers. They told me that Nisha, this is, we can do it. So developers give you a go. And then I actually handed this prototype to my final users as well. I went out, picked 5 6 people, handed the prototype to them, and I observed that they were also comfortable using it. It was rather helpful for them. So this is, now I can go with this solution. So there are like different ways how you can figure out which idea to go for. You could even take a decision internally within your design team, but that's not usually a good idea because we are not our users. uh, Spotify is not trying to make money out of me. They are trying to make money out of other people. So internally, like taking decision is not always a good idea. It's always a good idea to take feedback from others. Now that when you have done prototype, this is the time where we get into UI. Try not to get into UI at this stage, the ideation stage. Why do we do that? Because otherwise you will just get lost into what color will look beautiful here. Is it looking fine or not? Is it is it looking clickable enough or not? No. At ideation stage, we are just trying to understand if the journey that I'm creating will that be useful for my users or not. And that is why we try to chuck out those UI parts so that I don't get lost into all of those things, UI principles and all, when I'm just trying to figure out what idea will work the best. So once we are done with what are the ideas that we want to go for, then you go and create your final UI. And this is just, I've just taken a template of Spotify to just show you that how this design process goes. Now, if you go and check any other course online, if you go and check any YouTube video, this is what we call a design thinking process, and the same process is used in corporate as well. And not just corporate, if you are also interested in doing freelancing, this is the same process that goes in freelancing. You first figure out the problem. Everybody comes with a problem for you. Who are we trying to solve it for? What is the current journey? If you are trying to redesign something, if not, that you can directly jump into competitor analysis. How others are solving the same problem. Based on that, when you have all this data, you figure out, okay, what are the ideas that we have that we can go for. Once you list down all your ideas, then we try to figure out which idea we can go for. Let's say if you have 2 3 or 4 5 ideas that you like, you can then prototype and test it with your stakeholders and your users to figure out the which solution that we should go for. And eventually, when you are ready with the right idea that this is what we want to go for, you can go and create the final UI. Any questions that you guys have? There's another, so this is where your user, like the design process usually ends, but there's another process that comes right after it, which is developer handoff. If you are working if you're just working on a personal case studies, this will not come into the picture. But if you're working at a corporate environment, and let's say Kotak, if I have been given with a problem statement, that will always get developed at some point. So after I've done the final UI, then I do the developer handoff. That means the designs that I have created I make them ready so that my developers can use it to code the same solution that I have given to them. This process is called handing the designs over to developers, developer handoff. Let me also tell you about few tools that you can use for that. There's dev mode for Figma, which is just a little toggle here. So what you can do here, what you're trying to do here, let's say we are going to introduce a new search for users to uh, search bar for users to to look for a song using the reel link. right? So these are annotations, that is you're just marking out what you have done here so that my developers can understand, okay, what has been added. If I don't do this and if I just hand the screen over to my developer, and since we have done like a small change, it will take him forever to figure out what we have changed. So that is why we usually do these annotations and all. And this is one way to hand over your screens or designs to developers. There are a few other tools as well. There's a great tool that I really, really like, which is Zeppelin. It's a free tool. If you want to use someday, you can use it also. This is here, Zeppelin. And there's a Figma plugin for it, actually. So you can just click your, you can just select your screens. You can go to plugins. You can search for Zeppelin. You can run it. And it just sends all the screens that you have select to your Zeppelin, right? So this, I'm not sure like how many online, I don't think a lot of online resources tell you about these developer handoff and the process that come after your case studies. So this is that. And what happens after that, let me also tell you. So it doesn't usually happen that I'm done creating the solution, my developer has developed the solution, it goes out and it's done. No. What happens next? Next, we try to understand that the solution that I came up with, did it work or not? So at the ideation stage or the prototype stage, we gathered information from like 5-6 people. Or I obviously couldn't spare like a year to get the information, right? So when it goes out, when your solution actually goes out, now it is open for everybody, all your users, right? Now you can get the data, okay, if this is working or not. If this is working great, yes, we did a great job. Let's say for some reason it did not work good, few of the users are, yes, it served few of the users, but let's say it didn't serve majority of the users. 20% users, they are happy with it, but the rest of the 80% users are not happy with it. Then we reiterate on this, okay, now what is wrong with the solution, then we start again. So it's like a cycle, it goes on with every feature, with every part of the app or website. So that is my role. That will be your role if you go into corporate, if you go into freelancing, that we keep working, we keep improving. And then there's a little thing called component here. So design system, if you've heard about it, design system is just a way to make sure that your designs are consistent across, because the app has like 5 6, like for example, even if we go here just for the search, there are like how many screens, 1 2, then there is 3, there are the results 4 just for the search. So just imagine the entire app, how many screens would be there. And there are certain elements which are repetitive across the app. For example, this navigation. If I move to home, search, your library, premium, they stay there. If I move to search, home is still there. It doesn't go. So the same elements which are used across your app, things which are repetitive, we usually make them like a parent element, and then we use as children things, two different screen. And the idea is very simple. The idea of design system is to just make sure everything is consistent, because on one screen I am working, but on the other screen some other designer is working. And let's say if we don't do this, if we don't do design system, if we don't create components, the elements that we create, parent elements, we call them component. If I don't do it, then there's a high chance I will use different height, width, stroke, font for this navigation bar, and the other designer will end up using something else. So just imagine how inconsistent my app will become. So design systems are used for that. Very simple idea. So design system come at this stage with your final UI. Wireframes come at this stage, which is where you are trying to do ideation, right? And competitor analysis, your current journey, your research, users, these are all part of your research, where you are trying to figure out what is happening right now, how our users are tackling with the problem right now, how they are, what other apps are doing. This is all part of your research. So yes, this is all the practical use of the design in any space. If you become a freelancer, if you go and work at a corporate setup, these are the exact things that you do in a corporate setup. Okay, now we can take few questions. Anything that you would want to ask, you can ask those questions to me. Yes, yes, please. Jaya, it is right. You can ask question.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, can you tell me more something about components, how we can make components?
Okay. I'll show you. Like I'll give you like a brief introduction only. In Figma, very simple. Nothing super jazzy fancy. Let's say that you have created an element. Let's say this is one element that I'm going to use at different places. So I can just take this element. After you're done making this thing, this is the icon which says create component. Click on it. You can rename it. Double click on it. Let's say I can call this bottom navigation bar. I can call this, it's done. This is the component. And now you can keep it aside. I can probably keep it in a different page. So this is the main element. So whatever I make change here, and this is the child of it. So I just copied it. Copy, paste you can do. I remove it. I come on the ideation page again. I paste it. I put it here. And now, if I have to make any change here, I would not do it here on the child element. I will go to the component, the parent one. And now, if I make any change here, let's just change the background color. Let's say I made it red. See. So now just imagine how your process is simplified. Why? Let's say I use this same element here as well. And now if I go and again change the background color. Let's say we take it blue. See. So now just imagine how much of your effort is saved. Tomorrow, if you have to make one change in some element which is used consistent at different screens of your app, you will not have to go to each screen and make the same change like 100 times. You can just go to the parent element, make the change, and it will reflect on all of your other children elements. So that is the idea. This is how the consistency is maintained. That whatever change you have to make it in the parent element, and you don't have to mess things around here. I hope that clears your doubt.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions that you would like to ask? You can ask any sort of question, design related, corporate related. I am okay answering to all those questions. What is a user flow? Okay. Actually, you saw it. I'll tell you. So, user flow is just a way how you're trying to explain your journey. What will happen? So, for example, the search journey. This is a user flow only. But user flow can be made using different things. So, here I have made a user flow. User flow means user journey. How user will navigate through your system. That's a user flow. And I have created one user flow using the screens. I could also remove these screens and I could just say, okay, I could only use the rectangles to just mention what am I trying to do. So let's say my user is on home page. Let's make it a little bigger. So let's say I could also use just boxes so that when I explain this to somebody, people don't get people don't ask questions about these things, the colors and all. The idea is just to make sure that we all are aligned on what will be the journey. So I could also make the same journey using just rectangles. So let's say on the home page, user will click on the search, or let's say my home page has 4 navigations. There's search, there's home, there's library, there's premium. I could call it home, I could call it library, I could call it premium. And then I can, let's say, connect them. I'll show you. uh, let's say I connect them using some arrows. Okay, so this is just now you're trying to make the same user flow, which is the journey of the user, in a different way, which is just using boxes. So this is the user flow. This is user flow. Okay, any more questions? Case study. Okay. What is a case study? Okay. Now, a case study is the written documentation of what you have done. So, यहाँ पे like what we did on Figma right now is we did a lot of workaround, right? We did a lot of mess here. I had few ideas, I put those ideas as well, but only I am able to understand this because I know what did I do here. I know why the screen is right. But if I had to hand over this Figma file to, let's say, Saurabh, who's the organizer of the event, if I had to give this file to him, he wouldn't understand why Nisha has put this screen here. What is the logic? What is she trying to do? Right? And that is why we do written documentation. I create, let's say, a PDF file or a Notion file where I write down what did I do, the entire process. And I could keep screenshots of these things in that file so that Saurabh understands what was I trying to do. So when you document this entire process, whatever we did, the problem statement, user journeys, current journey, whatever we did, when we document it in a way so that the other person can understand, that is your case study. Can I use community file for case study as in your for your portfolio? Okay, Vishal, it is right. Can you elaborate this question a little more? Like, are you trying to use your own case study in a template, a Figma template? Is it okay? There's another person who's raising their hand. You can actually talk, guys. You can actually talk. Don't worry. I'm not that scary. For your portfolio, see if you can use your Figma community files for your portfolio, that is okay, but that will also depend on where you're making your portfolio. If you're making your portfolio in Figma, then I think that'll be okay. That'll be okay. But if you're making a portfolio in Notion, then you'll have to do everything there. The idea is your case study should be at one place so that whoever is looking at your file, he doesn't have to jump around at like 5 places. Okay. Any more questions you can ask? Um, how career grows in this domain depends on you. I'll tell you very honestly. Uh, so if you keep learning, see, design is a sweet spot of creativity and technology. Technology and creativity, they both are evolving. There's something new every other day. So if you stop learning after you get a job, you will not grow. You will not evolve. So the idea is when you get a job, you keep working on your projects, whatever the task and things that have been given to you. You learn it that way. Plus, you also keep working on how things are evolving. You keep learning what is new in design, what is happening right now. Is there new technology and not? So that is a way to grow. And yes, there's a good career growth. Trust me, guys, it's a very good space to be. Um, Tips to get jobs. Yes, there are. Few things I would like to tell. If you're creating a resume, you are a designer. You cannot mess up small elements like alignments or icons or colors. You can't mess up those things. You will be judged on that. So make sure your resume is perfectly aligned to things. Another thing, don't try to make it vague. For example, at certain internship, I did user research. No, everybody did user research only in there. If you're a designer in an internship, what exactly you researched about? So try to make it elaborative and not vague. Very important. Another thing, when you make your portfolios, try to make sure that your portfolios have at least 2 case studies. And if you have two different sort of things, for example, one case study is about mobile app, the other could be about website. Especially if you're a fresher, this is important. Why? Because it will show your diversity, that you're not just comfortable with apps. You can also do websites or you can also do dashboards. So at least 2 case studies, that is really important. Another thing, please try to document everything. I have seen a lot of designers just putting in visuals, final UI they put into the portfolio, and then they expect, okay, I'll get a job. You won't. because everybody is okay, everybody can create UIs. The idea is how do you reach there, what are the decisions, why the solution, right? And that is why it's very important that you highlight the entire process. Even if that you came up with the solution and it did not work, you figured at the prototype and testing stage that your users are not comfortable with the solution that you had before. Write that down as well. That will be really, really appreciated. Okay. And then another thing, you can ask for referrals. And when I say referrals, don't just say on LinkedIn that, hi, this is my resume, referral, put my referral. No. Like, have your small cover letter ready, not more than like 5-6 lines. You can say, hi, I'm Nisha. I have worked in 3 different startups as a designer. I have 3-4 years of experience, and now I'm looking for more opportunities. It will be really appreciated if you could refer me for this job posting. Here is, I'm attaching my resume and portfolio. Now that this is a nicer way to approach people, and people do refer people. Okay, don't think like that you're bothering people. People are paid. If let's say I'll get paid if I refer you and you get hired, I'll get money for it. So yes, you're not really bothering people, but just do it in a nicer way. And let's say if you're emailing your resumes and portfolio, if you're applying to a job using via emailing somebody, have that cover letter, like a bigger one, ready. And the idea of that is, when the HR calls you now, she'll first thing that she'll try to understand is, who are you, why are you looking for a switch, what is your background. Let's say if you have done your college from some other field, but you're a designer now, what's the story. You can cover all those basic questions in your cover letter. So that's a nice touch. Do that. um, there are more questions. How to learn UX law easily? There's a website called UX laws something, where it mentions like a list of laws and all, but I think there's a better website called growth.design, and it shows you case studies. I'll actually show it to you. It will make you learn laws but in a practical way. Growth.design. See, so they have case studies. For example, this one. And what are they doing here? They are doing what we did in our session. They are solving, they're telling you that, okay, there's a slight problem with something. What is the problem, right? Why there's a certain problem. When you go through it, they teach you that how we could make something better. And they also tell you, they also show you why something is problematic here. So here they are trying to tell that there's so much text on the screen that somebody will not be able to read to, right? And what is this called? This is called cognitive load. That's a principle. So they'll tell you about principles using visuals and in a case study format. So I really love this website. You can use it. Actually, I can drop the link in the chat as well for people to refer. Okay. Is there a book recommendation for UI UX? There are, but I don't usually read books. I'll tell you very honestly. But if I find few, I think Saurabh will forward all those resources to you. How to practice UI UX design as a beginner? For UI, you can just copy. Trust me. Whatever apps, websites that you like, copy them in Figma. You'll learn UI. For UX, you have to work on problems. Either you can pick problems, for example, yourself, or you can, if let's say you're working at a space, there obviously you'll get the problems. Let's say in a corporate, you'll get the problems, so you'll learn. And you can also do UI UX courses. So courses are designed in a way that you understand that what is, like, how you actually so for example, I've given you a very overview of things, but these courses will help you understand that how you can get into depth of these things. So yes, courses are a very good way to do that. I have also done few courses. So yes, tell me about detailing about parallel effect. We are not going into effects and all, because then this call will go very long. Chalo, okay, we're going to close this call right now. Saurabh, you want to take over?
Thank you, Nisha, for the such kind of experience and taking us towards this user experience journey which you have done so far. I think we are good to go. Let's do, guys, please fill this form for the attendance which I just shared in the chat box. It will help us to understand and will give you some more knowledge. Will add you in our design community WhatsApp group where we used to send a lot of content about design industry, how you can make your career, or like about the case studies, the growing industry, packages, salary, job openings also. And also, like, we invite more people. We would love to invite more people. Definitely you guys can recommend us. Okay, invite this person. Nisa also can recommend us. Okay, Saurabh, this person is good. So I think good to go. And once again, thank you all of you guys, especially Nisha. And we'll do once again in future, definitely. Correct. Okay, guys, thank you.
Okay, guys, have a great day ahead. And thank you so much for attending. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Just make sure to fill this attendance form so we can understand how many people joined this session. Done. Thank you. Thank you